Meantime, Fed Chair Janet Yellen set to deliver her economic outlook testimony before the Joint Economic Committee tomorrow. What does Congress want to hear from the Fed Chair? Joining us this morning, Texas Republican Congressman Kevin Brady, chairman of the Joint Economic Committee, whose camera does work on Capitol Hill. Congressman, good to see you again.
Thank you.
Obviously, new Fed chairman coming off the heels of a decent jobs number, but a not good Q1 GDP. What's the most important question to start with?
Well, I think now that the Fed has sort of decoupled itself from the unemployment rate and has gone to an eye of the beholder monetary approach, what measures is she using in the Fed to assess the strength of the labor market? There's a lot going on right now. Obviously, anxious to see a normalization of the interest rates over time, so would like to have a little more clarification in that area. And of course, there's a lot of talk about a new normal for full employment in America. A lot of concern about what the complete exit strategy will be for the Fed, including all that mortgage-backed securities, excess bank reserves. So how is she going to tackle the bigger picture?
It would be your preference, I'm guessing, to see that exit happen sooner rather than later?
Yeah, it is. I actually think the Fed, for some time now, has created more uncertainty within the market. Certainly, I think within business investment. I would like to see the normalization begin, as you said, sooner rather than later, because I think it'll create more certainty going forward.
Congressman, you mentioned bank reserves. I know that these large U.S. financial institutions have hundreds of billions of dollars just sitting at the Fed instead of lending it out. What sort of answers do you want from Chairman Yellen about exactly how she plans to grow the economy through lending and through serving small businesses and consumers?
Yeah, well, as you know, if there is an uptick in the economy and banks begin to want to lend again, that's the fuel for inflation. So what's the Fed going to do? Is it going to raise the reserve requirements? Is it going to pay higher interest? What impact does that have on the economy? It goes to the heart of the dual mandate that the Congress has given the Fed. So I think we're all in that approach.
You've been critical of the recovery at large because by historical standards, it has been more tepid than average. On the flip side, it has lasted longer than average. And I'm wondering how much credit, if any, do you give the Fed for that?
We are a month from the 5th anniversary of when this recession officially ended. We're still missing about $1 trillion from the economy, about 5 million jobs. If this were just an average recovery, I think the Fed both contributed significantly to the financial crisis. I think they calmed the water admirably during the financial crisis, but it's been trying to do too much since then, and I think has actually run its course as far as their employment boosts.
Well, if the exit were to happen sooner and rates were to rise, you do know that the things that are helping to prop up the market right now, like mergers and acquisitions, like capital spending, are going to be crimped as the cost of money gets more expensive.
Well, I think that clear communication really is critical going forward. Secondly, Wall Street's doing great through this recovery. Main Street, family wages, there's actually fewer adults proportionally working than when this recession ended nearly 5 years ago. So clearly, I think QE has run its course. I think the Fed, clear communication matters.
Congressman, one effect of QE has been to push investors into riskier asset classes like leveraged loans, like junk bonds, and like very distressed assets, just searching anywhere to get any sort of yield as the Fed has been keeping interest rates down. I'm wondering what, if anything, you think the Fed should be doing to ensure a safe exit for some of these individual investors out of some of these riskier assets, if that's possible.
Yeah, I do worry about, what this QE has done for seniors and for savers. And, as Warren Buffett famously said, the tide goes back out, we'll see who's wearing swimming suits and who's not. I worry about those who've been moved into risky investments who, frankly, didn't want to.
Well, we're going to be watching the hearing closely tomorrow. Thank you so much, Congressman. We'll see you then.
Appreciate it.
Congressman Kevin Brady, of course, of the Joint Economic Committee.
With the Dow